Buckle that belt.
The neighbor is already threatening to call the cops. He's pissed.
If you get anxious, man, you just pop these little guys.
People out here looking like Paul Feinbaum trying to tell us what to do with our hair.
In my overserved state, I went to the wrong
House.
No, it was the right house.
Okay.
Dive bar means the beer is cold, the drinks aren't too expensive, and the hamburgers are great.
They are a unified front in doing their very best to keep me between the proverbial navigational beacons. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Marty Smith Podcast. Marty's here. The great Wesley Blankenship is in the house. Travis is here. We have an amazing show today. Cannot wait to chat with Chris Long, two-time Super Bowl champion, All-American at the University.
You
Excuse
okay?
me, I got a little choked up there.
You good?
University of Virginia. It's hard for me to emit those words, but can't wait to chat with Chris. And you guys are going to be interested to see why. A couple weeks ago, I randomly tweeted that water is water, and we did not know this, but that is a controversial topic.
I love how guests find their way on this show. Like, you just
I know.
tweet that about water.
It's unbelievable.
Boom, we
So
got a
can't
guess.
wait to chat with Chris about his apparently, according to the tweeter machine, wide-reaching expertise on various brands of water, tastes of water, and apparently he's an expert. So we'll chat with him about that. But before we get to Chris here in just a couple minutes, boys, happy Independence Day.
Yep.
As we tape this, it is July 5th. I had an amazing July 4th. Wesley,
You looked
what
like
did
Uncle
you
Sam,
do
bro.
on
Awesome.
America's birthday?
You looked like Uncle Sam on that Huffy you were riding around.
How about the guitar shades? What'd you think of the guitar shades?
I was impressed, man. I can tell you put a lot of effort into that. And I know that you don't take America's birthday lightly, and you didn't disappoint with your celebration.
That is one thing about this town, Ocean City, New Jersey. I'm here at Ocean City Coffee, right here on Asbury Avenue. As we've said here for the last several weeks, they've been gracious enough to host us this summer while I'm up here at my summer place. One thing I love about this town, this island, is their 4th of July celebration is a citywide deal. Everybody's having parties everywhere. All the houses are decked out with buntings and American flags.
Man,
and
bunting
red,
is
white,
such
and
an
blue.
underappreciated deal. Just, I don't even know what kind of category to put it in, but when you see bunting, you know something serious is happening. Opening day, baseball, Memorial Day, 4th of July.
I completely agree. I think that buntings are vastly underrated. They just offer this patriotic. You just look at a bunting and you feel American, right?
Yes.
You're just infused with American spirit, and certainly we all need that right now. And so we had a blast, man. We hosted 50-something cocosas at our house. We do that every year. I busted out the pit boss. I put the ground beef on there from Boyer's Market down the street here, and
Do some smash burgers.
all I season it with is just salt and pepper, man. But the way that the pit boss prepares the burgers, you don't even have to try. I mean, you don't even have to try. You put them on there. I go 400 degrees. I go about 5 minutes each side, and then I flip them off for 2 or 3 more minutes on each side. And they're the best thing you ever had in your life. I eat a burger once a year, Wesley. One day a year.
That's it, huh?
And it is July 4th, and I always go too deep. Now, my belly's a little bit rumbly today as a result of such things, but it is a July 4th tradition. We have a lot of American-made whiskey and
That's
a
right.
lot of American-made light beers at the Smith household.
I had a pretty multicultural alcohol consumption yesterday, ironically. I had some scotch, which is
Wow.
Yeah, and I had a Dos Equis. So I was all over the board, but I also brought
kind
it
of
home with
scotch?
some local Athens beer. So steady the
What
ship.
kind of scotch, dude?
What kind of scotch?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just sipping on some Johnny Walker.
What color?
Not,
I have a buddy.
Not the best color, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, you weren't sailing in the blue yesterday,
nah,
there, buddy?
I wasn't in Blue Land.
How many fingers do you go with your pour?
3.
I was just sitting down by the dock, man. It was like 100 degrees, so I just needed something to steady the ship a little bit and get a good foundation. I'm big on foundations with my drinks, and you know that.
Are you on the rocks?
I'm the
Or
shot.
are you a neat guy?
Neat.
Damn, you got a bigger set than I got. I don't like warm alcohol.
I'm with you.
I'm just out. I love to have a big old cube, a big old ball, or a big old block in my glass, and I'm 3 fingers.
I was all over the map on Sunday with my drinks.
Shocking development.
I had a White Claw. I had a Tito's and soda. I think I had a Jack. I busted out the Old Smoky Moonshine.
How you feeling today, man? My Lord.
So I think I strained my neck, maybe concussion protocol. So at my dad's pool, we had this blow up slide that the kids were using. It's only meant for 120 pounds weight. And kids were going down it. Well, then when all the little ones left and parents took them home, then the adults for some reason had this great idea that we should jump over this slide and try to catch a ball in the air. And the first time I did it, I looked to my right to try to catch it and just landed, just face planted. And so I've been dealing with a little bit of a neck strain. I feel like
Damn.
Playing hurt today.
You're
Let's
playing
take
hurt.
Travis through the concussion protocol.
You're
Look
like
at
Joey
my fingers.
Chestnut showing up with the knee brace on.
How about Joey just putting some dude in the full Nelson?
So I
over
caught the
here at the hot dog
replay.
eating
I caught the
contest?
replay of it yesterday, the whole broadcast, and I think ESPN edited it out. Unless I
only know about it from social media. I didn't see it either. I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't know if it was a situation where they didn't want to glorify, they don't show the streaker on game broadcasts. Maybe they just didn't want to glorify a protester. I don't know.
Guess what I did last night, fellas? Okay, so I have had on the beach before I went down and started grilling. I had 4 local New Jersey beers.
Today?
No.
It's like, damn.
This was on July 4th.
Okay.
This was on Independence Day, Wes America's birthday. I had 4 local beers, and we were playing Can Jam. Y'all familiar with Can Jam?
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool,
frisbee
it's the coolest
game, right?
game. You take a frisbee
It's not
and
the
you're
coolest
throwing a
game.
frisbee at this bucket, and if you slot it, the game's over. And you got a teammate, and they're trying to knock the frisbee into the canister. It's a fun game.
I never heard of
And my
that.
brother-in-law Mike and I are just, we're like the MJ Scottie Pippen of Can Jam. But so after we do that, and then I go home. All right, so I start pouring myself Jack Daniels. So now I'm on Jack Daniels and Diet Coke. Okay, greatest taste in the history of man. Well, I got this buddy Zach, and he's Laney's friend from high school. His wife is one of Laney's best friends from high school. They live 2 streets over. Well, he was in Nashville, Tennessee during CMA Fest for work. And so he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, man, this is the. I think I might have said this the other week. This is the most Travis thing ever. It's 9:30 at night. I get this text from Zach. He's like, "Hey, man, can you get me tickets to Nissan Stadium tomorrow for CMA Fest?" And I'm like, I guess I'll try. So I get him and his buddies these tickets to CMA Fest. As a result, he buys me a bottle of Basil Hayden, and he as a thank you. So he brings this bottle of Basil Hayden to the house, and it's sitting there. And Laney's uncle comes over, and he loves whiskey. He loves bourbon. I'm like, I got some Basil Hayden in there. Well, then it starts to filter through the 50 people at the party that I have Basil Hayden, okay? So now uncles are firing off Basil Hayden, whatever. I'm still drinking Jack. Well, at the end of the night, I'm like, I want to try some of that Basil Hayden. So I go in there and I get my ice cube, and I got my 3 fingers, and we're playing cornhole. Boys, God as my witness, I hit a 4-bagger on cornhole. Foom, 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 foom.
That's not
All of them.
It's not that crazy of a feat.
I was hammered. What do you mean it wasn't a crazy feat?
It's not
Maybe
And it
you
was
were just
pitch black outside.
maybe you were just in that perfect zone where you haven't
was.
crossed the threshold yet, and alcohol is
And-
actually boosting your athletic performance.
Yes. And Academy Sports and Outdoors they sell, I don't think they manufacture it, they sell these cornhole boards that have LED lights around the
I
hole.
saw that, man.
Dude, it's the coolest
Your
thing ever.
cornhole boards kind of looked like Iron Man. They were sick.
Yeah. It was 11:30 at night. It was pitch black outside. We had our music up I had Midnight Rider on so loud that quite literally the neighbors were looking out the window cussing us.
Why didn't the neighbors just come over and hang out?
Well, I think they'd been at it pretty good since about 10 o'clock in the morning. But all right, enough of our drivel. Let's bring in our buddy here. Look, again, as I said off the top of the show, I tried a new water. I was blown away by this water. Basically, long story short, I was hungover from a party the night before, and I went to the gym to try to sweat it out. And then I went to this coffee shop to get my boost. And they have this water, it's called Liquid Death, in the refrigerator. And it look, you know how sometimes in the movies or on a TV show, the character will look at something and it'll
glow.
It has a halo around it. This water had a halo around it. So I bought 3 of them. And I'm drinking this Liquid Death. And it was so cold and so pure and so smooth. I was like, this is the greatest water I've ever had. And I wonder, is it the packaging? Because there's like skulls and fire. It's like fire,
It looks like an
flames and
energy
skulls.
drink. The packaging.
It looks like the bottom of a Powell Peralta skateboard in 1989.
Now that's a drop.
Like
Marty.
Bones Brigade skateboard in 1989. So anyway, I wondered if I was being fooled by the packaging.
You are.
And so I posed this question. Do y'all believe that one brand of water can taste different than another brand of water? Water's water. But I wonder if packaging impacts how we taste it. Because this morning I think it happened to me. Well, 500-something replies later, I realized, holy hell, people are passionate about water. All right, let's bring in the expert, the great Chris Long. Howdy, y'all. I forget who, somebody just yelled at me. The great Chris Long, who is the aficionado of all things water. As we said, man, what an amazing pleasure to welcome Chris Long to the podcast. This guy is a legend, not only what he achieved on the football field, but what he does for others. His kindness towards other people is so inspiring. Charitable person, philanthropic person. He's impacted lives all over the globe, donated his entire 2017 salary from the Philadelphia Eagles to charity in the effort in part to bolster and improve education in America. Abroad, his foundation benefits waterboys.org, which builds wells for communities in East Africa. I've long been a fan of this guy, even though, unfortunately, he played at the University of Virginia. He is also the second Marty Smith podcast guest in the past 3 weeks that named his boy Waylon, so we're going to get along just fine.
Who else did you have on?
We had Larry Fleet on, the burgeoning country music star. But Chris, I don't know if you're familiar with Larry's work yet, but this dude...
No. Well, now I'm in. He named his kid Waylon. He must have good influences.
He can go. All right, we're going to just go ahead and put it out there to your point just a moment ago. We'll start with this controversial topic that I broached that I did not know was controversial. About 10 or so days ago, I tweeted water's water, and one of the first people to respond with, that is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life, was you. So go ahead and walk us through your response to my ignorance.
Well, so here's the thing, Marty, and I'm a big fan of yours too, man. So I wanted to help a guy out that I have a lot of respect for, and it's just dangerous. It's a dangerous narrative that all water tastes the same. Guys, Marty, how much do you weigh?
165 pounds.
Okay, so I don't do the quick math on that, but I'd say you're about 130 pounds of water.
Okay.
110 pounds of water. So, you're not just pumping Aquafina in that engine. You talk about race cars a lot, right?
I do.
The fuel matters. I know there might be a sponsor on this great podcast, so I don't want to step on any toes, but we're not talking about Deer Park here. Put some Aquapana in that bad boy. Nobody's going to call you bougie. It's not going to ruin your image. You could do some Aquapana. Liquid Death still looks kind of tough, but it's upper class water, dude. Invest
Liquid Death
in
sponsors
that.
everybody.
Yeah, invest in that 70% of your body, Marty, that you run on every day. It's water.
So I got to be honest with you, brother. All right, Travis, I'm just going to put it out there. What spawned the tweet in the first place was I had just gotten back from the gym on top of being hungover because I was in Nashville, Tennessee. And when you're in Nashville, Tennessee, you're just hungover.
You're hungover.
And I went to this coffee shop and I got 2 cans of Liquid Death. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is the greatest water I've ever. I mean, I didn't know if it was the freezing cold ass can.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know what it was, but I was like, this water has fooled me. this water is better than other water. Yes. And so that's where the whole thing came from. And all right, it's
true, and it's true. And there's no BPAs in Liquid Death, which I don't know what that stands for, but we don't want
Toxins.
them. Yeah, we don't want. Hey, dude, we don't want any BPAs, Marty. So, you know, the Liquid Death being aluminum. Anybody that knows Gatorade and that was born before, 1998, has probably had Gatorade in a can before. Gatorade in a can before is like the nectar of the gods, dude. Gatorade in a plastic bottle, it's variable. How long has it been out? What flavor is it? You put any flavor in a can, if it's Gatorade, it tastes amazing. And it's the same thing for water. It's the aluminum that really unlocks the potential of that water.
It unlocked mine. I felt like a world-class athlete when I had that stuff in my,
you did,
in my
dude.
blood.
I do too.
As you were explaining that, I'm looking at Wesley's face. Wes, you were completely flummoxed by everything Chris just said.
No, I've had Liquid Death. I've never had the Aqua Pancake.
Aqua Pancake. It doesn't taste like pancakes. It tastes like that and Evian. They're kind of in the class of like if you milked a cloud or you milked water, and you got like the finest distillate of that cloud that was hovering over the Alps. Like that's what Aquapana. Actually, that's an Italian water. Where Evian, I think, is that Switzerland?
It sounds French. I've had Evian before, and it tastes like I'm not allowed to be drinking it. Like it tastes like I shouldn't be having access to that water.
But you do have access. Don't fall for the. These are limitations we put on ourselves. Like,
Travis.
Why? All the bullshit we spend. Can I do that? Sorry. All the BS that we spend on water or on expensive stuff that has nothing to do with water. Like I said, we run on 70% water. Invest in the water that's in your body.
Travis, pull up. I know you have it right there. What was Chris's top 6? I mean, this was right off
Chris's
the cuff,
list
too.
is
This
solid.
was amazing that
Thank you.
fired this away.
Well, I have a water charity, so I got to be ready.
This list is
Correct.
It's number 1, Aquapana. Drinking a cloud, try it. Yeah, it's expensive. Number 2, Liquid Death, no BPAs, daily driver. 3, Evian, if you milked water. 4, Mountain Valley, just a powerhouse. 5, Smart Water, utilitarian family water. 6, Fiji.
Yeah, Fiji can be a little overrated,
But it has a square bottle. See, that's another
bottle.
part of this debate, bro. Is I was like, is it the packaging that's messing with me right now? Because I am a complete sucker for a beautiful craft beer can, and I'm a complete sucker for a beautiful Pinot Noir or Cabernet wine label. I am a sucker, dude, and I want is this water messing with me?
I think it is messing with you, but it's okay. Allow yourself to be messed with on this thing. I mean, there's a reason that they have the bandwidth for the packaging, because these are dialed in operations. You know what I mean? So chances are they're doing something right. And I just want to say this about Smart Water. Smart Water is a good water, not a great water. I added it to the list because I have to drink a lot of it. My wife always has a 6-pack of Smart Water. Something about suburban moms, they're really drawn to Smart Water, so I wanted to include that for the suburban moms.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's
shout
consistent.
You know what it is? The Smart Water, it has the cap, so you don't have to twist it off all the time.
cap's
Just pop it,
tedious.
can
You
drink
do
real
the
fast.
caps?
No, man.
Yeah, the cap is the big thing.
Travis,
Just
you
pop it off
lazy
and you
ass.
squirt it.
Unscrew the lid, bro.
I saw somebody put a twist-off cap from one of the Smart Waters on one of the twist-off caps on a bottle of wine recently. That was one of the more ingenuitive things I saw on social media.
Where were
recently.
you? Where was that? That's pretty awesome. They're having a good time wherever that happened.
It was my algorithm.
Okay.
I guess they know I like to drink water and I like to drink wine every now and then.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Well, since we have you on here, dude, you played collegiately at such a high level.
Yep.
All-American, had a tremendous pro career, but we're big-time college football guys, college basketball guys, and all of us are just like WTF with college sports right now. It's the Wild West. There's so much change. It's a seismic shift moment here. So as someone who lived it and would have made a fortune off NIL, had
Yeah, I
you
would have
had
made
it
a
when you
little
played,
bit. Yeah.
what's your perspective on everything that's going on right now?
So I think it's tough because I don't know that there is a right answer. Like everybody knows the right answer is to get these kids paid. In my opinion, like they generate a ton of revenue. They bust their ass. You know, the football players are risking, you know, their health to a higher degree than a lot of other collegiate athletes. So, you know, when I see these football players signing, you know, 5-figure deals rolling up on campus, I'm like, yeah, it might look a little gaudy that the kid decided to buy a watch with it, but he deserves that autonomy. He deserves that opportunity to spend it on whatever. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are taking care of family back home. There's a lot of kids that, you know, maybe like me, that didn't need the money and it was a luxury and maybe they're just enjoying it. The bottom line is it really doesn't matter how they're spending it. It's that they have the choice to spend it how they want to spend it, like the rest of Americans, because, you know, I really do believe in having a free market and having the ability to go out and earn what the market will pay you. And these kids are doing that. Now, in the immediacy, Marty, as you know, it is the Wild West. That's the best term to, you know, because there's going to be a lot of bad actors trying to break into the game and take advantage of kids. That's scary. You know, they got to get that figured out. These kids got to have their paperwork straight. They got to have the right people advocating for them. They got to have representation, right, to protect that money and protect their likeness and their image, because there's always sharks and the people that kind of take advantage. But I think a lot of the growing pains we're seeing are going to be necessary, whether we're going to do it now or 15 years down the road. Like, the floodgates had to open, and I really do believe it'll sort itself out. I also think with, like, conference realignment and all this stuff, man, it's so hurtful to me as an ACC, like, Raycom sports guy. Like,
Amen.
Watch Doc Walker and all this stuff. Like,
Dan
this is
Bonner,
gonna,
baby.
Yeah, dude, this is gonna be way different. But it's just like anything in sports. Like, when it happens, I think everybody's shocked. But the thing that we love is still there. It's the game, dude. You know, and football, as long as there's an opportunity for people to play it, people are going to go play it, because it's been a doorway to a better life for a lot of people. And it's also a hell of a lot of fun. And it'll be competitive. Sure, I'm worried about Virginia. I don't know where we end up in this whole thing. Maybe you have an opinion. But I also think that, like, eventually this stuff gets sorted out and we get used to it. USC is going to look normal in the Big Ten in like 3 years, dude.
Yep.
That's just the way these things go, dude. I mean, there's change and then we adapt.
My neighbor played football at Virginia Tech and is from West Virginia, and we were talking about the Mountaineers and the Hokies and trying to figure out where schools like that end up in this model that looks like it's headed towards a Power 2. I mean, do you feel like there's any solution? Because 15 years ago, people would have been clamoring to add West Virginia and Virginia Tech to the Power 2. And I feel like if there is a solution, you know, maybe relegation is that answer, but I just don't know if conferences will go for it.
I don't know if people go for relegation. I don't know what the solution would be. I've seen things floated like where there's these, I mean, obviously everybody thinks that there's either going to be this big conference is made up of the SEC and the Big Ten, or it's like these Power 2 and then everybody else. I think there's too much pageantry, too much tradition, and too much that we love about our schools. I mean, your neighbor or myself, or, you know, maybe a fan of one of these, you know, NC State, although I think they're pretty good. I mean, a lot of these ACC type schools that aren't going to be able to maybe make the boat for the new big shiny conference, there's still going to be excitement around football. It's just, how do they break down those lower divisions? And then do you, like, give those lower divisions like a piece of the pie when it comes to whatever the playoff system is? I think if there's a carrot to dangle that you can go play the big boys and be the Cinderella, you know, then I think some of these schools that have always had a seat at the table, like the ACC has always had a second team that's gotten into the New Year's Day bowls and hasn't always done well because one side of the table's not as good. Thank you very much. You know, with the Coastal and all that. But, like, maybe now we're looking at it from the outside looking in, like some of these non-Power 5 schools have, and said, like, hey, if we can win enough games and if we're good enough in our lower division, maybe we can get into the dance and play spoiler. Because that's all teams really want, right? I mean, you know, that chance, right? I mean, we know at Virginia we're probably not going to compete in the playoff in the next 5 years. But if there's a bigger playoff and we can get in it, for 90% of the teams, it just matters if you get in. There's only a couple teams that can win the thing every year.
It's going to be fascinating to see how the conferences do shake out. I mean, I really think the University of North Carolina is in a phenomenal spot.
I agree.
I think they have so much potential with all of this expansion. I think UVA is actually in a good spot, and I hope Virginia Tech's in a really good spot. We'll see, because if you think about the markets that those universities are in, and you think about the academic excellence, and let's not fool ourselves, though. Anybody who tells you this is about school is lying. This is
Right.
about money.
Yep.
This is
No
about
question.
brands, and it's about money.
Yep.
And I do think, though, that those two universities are in a good spot. Speaking of money, and you may, I'm sure you've thought of this, but this may be an impossible question for you to answer. What do you think you could have made in the NIL era if it was available to you?
Man, I don't know. Like, I would need a baseline. Like, I feel like, a lot of people say, people are always mad at you because of your dad played or whatever. They say you made, whatever, you got drafted because your dad, which is all BS, of course. But if I made a bunch of NIL money, part of that would have been because of my dad.
Yeah.
And I really do think I would have raked in a little bit. Now, knowing myself, like, I've never been about the money. Now, I've been lucky, but I probably would have tried to be as tasteful as I could. I probably would have got ripped off because I'm bad at saying no. Like, I want to take care of, I want to do something for this diner down the street because I know the guy. Like, he'd probably take me to the cleaners. I'd probably give him a discount. Maybe I wouldn't have made as much as I could have, but I think I would have made. I think I could have pulled in $250. Do you think that's high?
No, I don't think that's high at all. Not for
500?
somebody who was the face of a program in a time when that program was good.
Yeah, we were pretty good.
And
we had some good pro guys.
Everything's context, right? Like, life is
Yeah.
context and repetition, and the context for you when you were at UVA is the Cavs, the Who's were good.
Yeah,
And
we were decent.
so yeah, I think 250 is very, because what people are forgetting is, like, if C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, Travis's Buckeyes, some booster could come to C.J. and go, hey, I want to pay you 30 grand or 40 grand, 50 grand to come take pictures at little Junior's birthday party.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they can do that. It's not just like you're representing Ocean City Coffee here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
but the
much more than
the competition. There's a lot of rich people don't get rich by just spending their money, And I think that, like, there's a lot of competition in, like, a Columbus, where you're like, well, that dealership will pay him $100 grand. Like, what do I have? What's the going rate? And I think here in Charlottesville, it's probably a little different. Now, I don't want to say we're not willing to pay people in this community. I know there's, if guys come to Charlottesville, I'm sure there's going to be good deals on the table for them. But I do think, like, certain towns, it would have been interesting to see. And Charlottesville, like, hey, this is part of the deal now. If you like your program and you're a fan of the program and you have, like, a business or you have disposable income, like, get in the game. Because kids they're looking to see where they're going to make money. I mean, it's just like anything else now.
Like, imagine Tebow or Reggie Bush or, oh my God, these guys would have printed
Johnny
paper.
Manziel.
Yes, Johnny
In
football.
oil money, the oil money down there, dude. Like, think about that. It was the perfect storm. He would have made $3 to $5 million.
Yep.
I don't know if that's high, but
No, I don't
No,
think
I
it
think
is.
that sounds about right.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Was there, like, a local place in Charlottesville that was your go-to spot that would have been a no-doubter for you to have a deal with?
Yeah.
Like, you lived and died with those people.
Yeah, for sure. Wayside Chicken, because in college we'd go, or Mel's. In college we would go tubing a lot on the James River. Now,
Let's go.
at my age, I'm still going tubing a lot on the James River.
Dude, I saw you passed up some river chicken. What's up with that?
Well, it was Dr. Fax, my co-host. I didn't know how long it had been out of the refrigerator, So, but that was my bad. Looking back on it, I was like 30 yards away and I was floating downstream and I was in a kayak, so I didn't want to come back. There were some rapids. It was a big, complicated thing. But I would say, like, I used to get off the river and go straight to not Dirty Nellie's, Wayside Chicken or Mel's, and I would have definitely given them a deal on something. Like, they would have had to pay me peanuts. I would have just been happy to support.
I mean, Dirty Nelly, whatever that is, that sounds pretty interesting.
You
What's
got
going
it,
on in
dude,
that
Marty.
place?
You've never been to Dirty Nellie's?
No, I'm a Virginia boy. I have not.
Okay, so next time you're in town, you just have to text me. If you're in town for a game or something, this is where we need to have a beer. This is the
Okay,
best
deal.
bar on game day for sure in Charlottesville. It's like an old old bar. Divey. Yeah.
Does it have a
Good.
cigarette machine?
Oh yeah, it
in
looks like a pub, like a British pub kind
It
of.
does not have a cigarette machine in it because I don't think that's legal anymore. But there is a porch.
Somehow it's legal. Let me tell you, dude. So when I was covering the PGA Championship last month,
Yeah.
or in May, right? Matt Berry, great American, my brother from another at ESPN. He and I, we're gonna go check out the coolest bars in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, we walk into this bar because it has this marquee just blinking that says cold beer. Okay, that's like a beacon in the night for hillbillies like us. Chris, we go in there, and there are these old ladies right by the front door just firing off lung darts. And we're like,
Darts.
oh, this is different. And they had an old school cigarette machine
Yeah.
where you like put your quarters in, you pull out the slot, you shove in the slot, and your pack of Marlboro Reds comes out.
Yes.
We were
Well,
like,
there-
oh
there-
my God, it still exists.
There's a bar like that in Charlottesville, but I'm not going to snitch. And if you come here, I can take you to the Sig Bar too. Because every once in a while, everybody needs to rip one heater at 2 a.m. Just one. And that's the problem with the cigarette machine is they need to sell the Lucy's. They need to just have a Lucy machine for drunk guys like me who are healthy and otherwise
rack- they would
very
rack up.
athletic, right? Just charge $5 for one cigarette because my drunk ass is going to put, I don't even know who's on the $5 anymore. Is it Lincoln? Who's on the $5
It's
bill?
Abe.
I'm gonna put Abe.
Still.
I'm putting Abe in the slot, dude, for a menthol. Especially now, the menthols are going by the wayside. They're trying to take the menthols from us. So
That is a travesty.
yeah. Hey, by the way, Jeff Passan, you like baseball?
Great man.
He is a great man. He was on our show. He smokes American spirits.
That's like his drunk cig.
Yes. Oh, they're gonna kick him out of the baseball fraternity over that, dude.
Actually, no, that just made him a first ballot
You
Hall
think?
of Famer.
Okay.
Dude, he is in the TSA pre-check line of the
Okay.
Baseball Hall of Fame now
Okay,
because
good.
of American spirit.
Yeah.
So this is what we need. We need Chris. What is your power rankings on it if you just your
man.
cigarettes?
Newport.
Number
Salem
one.
Lights.
Marlboro, number 2, but not
Red.
red. Not red.
Lights,
Sorry, Marty. I'm
Marlboro
not trying to
Lights.
go. I'm not trying to go night night. Marlboro Red was actually maybe my first cigarette that me and my buddies
That was my first
snuck
cigarette,
out.
too.
Kill you, man. Somebody wanted you dead.
We were both 13, dude. He didn't know any better. We just drove as fast as we could in his parents' truck under the power line cutout, and we found a really hot spot in the sun. It was like 100 degrees in the Virginia heat, and we ripped a Marlboro Red. We had to lay in the back of the bed for a solid hour.
How much did you puke?
Chris, explain the buzz of a first cigarette Marlboro Red. It's unrivaled.
It's like a really heavy lead blanket that also spins you in a circle. I mean,
I've never smoked a
What?
cigarette in my life.
good for
Not
you.
one puff.
I mean, really good for you. You're not missing much except
Travis
for
is
the
a
best
PSA.
10 minutes of your life.
So you have the opportunity. All right, who is your greatest? Other than Dad, family
Yeah.
doesn't count.
Yeah.
Who is like your greatest hero?
Oh, shoot, man. I mean, it's that dinner table question, and he's still alive. It's Willie Nelson, dude.
Oh my God! Yeah.
It's probably Willie Nelson, and yeah, I have a son named Waylon, but
So how'd that go down? Was that an internal conflict for you? Was it between Willie and Waylon?
well, there's a lot to live up to when your name is Willie Long. So Marty, not that he wouldn't have, but Marty, I have a dog named Willie for that reason, right? He doesn't have to go to school and tell people the dog. So
That's like the reverse boy named Sue.
So Waylon, for me, Waylon is a really cool name. I just love the name. And I also at that point, I think when you look at the Highwaymen, there are stages in your life that you go through and you are all those people for a little while. And in
If
my
you're lucky.
20s, when I was just nuts, I was more Waylon. And I'm in a Willie stage, man, and so Willie's probably my hero. I love music, and yeah.
Highwaymen is
Which-
one of the greatest songs of all time.
Which verse in the Highwaymen is your favorite?
Well, I feel like Johnny definitely stole the show. He got to fly a starship, dude.
Yeah, he drops the
And
mic.
across the universe divide. I got chills right now,
It's the
dude.
best.
But let's see. I was a sailor. I was born upon the tide.
Wayland's is real sneaky though. I mean,
Yeah.
Wayland's is about building the Hoover Dam,
which is
and
scary,
dudes being
dude.
in the bottom of that concrete. I mean,
There are dudes down there, dude. I would say Willie though, because just like Willie, like it's a cool, calm verse, but he also lets you know like I'm not to be messed with, because he's laid a couple folks down along the road, and so I think Willie's is maybe my favorite verse outside of Johnny's.
all right, a couple more, Wesley. We got to get this man out of here.
You're good, man. You're totally good. We're on a topic that we're.
All right. I've been asking people this throughout the summer, and you enjoy your wet fruit. You enjoy water hydration.
I do.
Are you a watermelon man or a cantaloupe guy?
Watermelon, number one fruit. Watermelon.
Number one fruit, like period, is watermelon.
Period.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty controversial take as well. You've now supplanted me.
He is
in the
all in on- you're all in
unforeseen
on water,
controversial
dude.
Take department.
I love water. I love staying
Yeah.
hydrated, and watermelon has a lot of. There's a lot of. Read about it. Read
It
about all
has
the
more health benefits than you think it does.
It does. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
92%
exactly.
Yeah, but it
water.
packs a punch, man. It's like nature's body armor. Just
Wait
grows
till
straight
they
on
come
the
out
vine.
with aquapana infused watermelon. You know they will, and I'll be eating the shit out of it. I'll pay $30 for it. I pay $10 for sliced watermelon. So
Chris, we have a guest for you. You need to get
Okay.
Ross Chastain.
Yeah,
on
we
your
just talked to
podcast
Ross
then.
about watermelons.
He grew up on a watermelon
NASCAR
farm.
star now. He's won a couple races this year. Extremely aggressive. Doesn't give a damn to dump his mama to win a NASCAR race. And grew up on a watermelon farm, tending to the watermelons.
that's so good.
When he wins, he Gronk spikes a watermelon on top of the car.
Who was the comedian that used to do that? Gallagher.
Oh, yes.
Gallagher, yeah.
He's the Gallagher of NASCAR. And is he more hectic than Stenhouse?
Well, not at this point he is, because he's
Okay.
running up front, and like
Okay.
his positions really matter right now.
Yeah,
Ricky's
he's
trying to figure it
yeah,
out right now.
Yeah. No, I was told if I wanted to have a chaotic favorite driver, I should pick Stenhouse.
And Ricky's funny.
That's
Like,
what
he's
that's what
real
it
funny.
was.
Ross
yeah.
is real composed. Ricky's funny.
Yeah. I'm a Truex fan, dude. I decided. Yeah, because I met
He's
him.
a great American.
Yeah, I met him with Joe Gibbs before the race. I was like, they just hang out in their uniforms. They're like talking to sponsors and just chilling before they go 20 miles an hour. These guys are insane. They're cool, calm. Martin was really nice. I just ran into him. He was cool as hell. I got the hat and everything now.
What was that like when
Oh
you were
my
in the
God,
pace car at
dude.
Richmond?
It unlocked something primal in me, man. I totally get, like, I wouldn't even going that fast, dude. But to drive that fast and just trust that you're not going to flip, like, you never get to do that on the road, and going down there realizing how slanted things are. And they said this isn't even a big slant where I was, like, at all. I got to hit one of these tracks where it's like this. I want to really feel the gravity. So anybody that wants me to drive a pace car, like, I drop everything.
We got to get done. I'm actually one of the NASCAR vice presidents texted me while we're sitting here having our conversation and said he needs to talk to me about the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway, which is extremely banked, and maybe Chris Long should be driving the pace car at
Hey.
the Southern 500.
Hey, yes, dude. It was the thrill of a lifetime, and everybody in NASCAR is really good about growing the sport.
They are.
I'll say that, like, it was legitimately a first class experience going down there, man. It was like, you go to football games, you get lost in the crowd. It's very, like, very closed off. Like I said, you got to meet the racers right before the race. all the people that work for NASCAR are so friendly and accommodating. I am really not just saying that to kiss y'all's ass to get on another pace car. But honestly, as a football player, I was like, damn, this is a really welcoming sport. So I was really excited about that.
When
Yeah,
you
we're
met
huge
Martin,
fans.
I'd have to imagine that you were extremely taken by the fact that those guys wear fire-retardant adult pajama onesies.
Yes.
Imagine if you guys did that in football, where like you stepped into a onesie and you had the pads in your pants, and then the shoulder pads were hooked into the whole thing, and all you had to do was zip up your uniform.
Yeah, you don't have a choice then. You got to go. You got to go.
That's it, dude.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm pretty impressed with these dudes. I say, a lot of people say, are they athletes? I say, hell yeah, they're athletes. You got to control a 200
No question.
or you got to control a bull that's going 200 miles an hour around a track and pee in your suit. Like, you're an athlete, dude.
It's always funny to me when you see football players who are huddled, like you got a bunch of assistant coaches on every single corner of the player, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they're there for like 2 minutes, and then there he just emerges.
You know what's happening there,
You
dude.
know what's going down in there.
Yeah. Peeing, looking at 30,000 people who are looking
Yeah.
at you. You want to talk about stage fright?
And all of them have their phones up just checking you out, dude.
They can't see, but you feel like they can.
They know what's happening.
They know. So.
Dude, you're a legend.
Dude, Marty,
so
thank
grateful
you.
for your
Yeah.
time and your perspective and your care for others. It
Yes,
truly
sir.
is inspiring. We didn't get a chance to get into that. We'll have to have you back on again so we can get deep into your heart, because, man, you're a special cat. We
Dude.
appreciate you.
Lucky guy, man. I appreciate y'all, and I'll come on anytime. A lot of fun.
We told you guys. I mean, the man, I meant what I said. The man means so much to me because he's such a vulnerable personality. He's an open book, and he has so much care and empathy for other people. His folks raised him right. We heard you guys heard him talk about right there how much he loves NASCAR, and we all do too, certainly. I want to remind you guys, the NASCAR season is heating up. Headed to Michigan Speedway next month, and tickets for the race couldn't be cheaper. Tickets start at just $39 for NASCAR Cup Series Firekeepers Casino 400 tickets on August 7th at Michigan International Speedway. Kids 12 and under can get in for just $10. You can also camp at the racetrack starting Monday of race week, and if you can't make it to the race, make sure you check it out on NBC at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for a complete list of tickets, camping, and hospitality. Go to mispeedway.com. That's mispeedway.com. Look, man, so I've admired him since he was a player at the university.
Does
That frog.
Does it pain you that we had a Virginia boy on before we had a Virginia Tech guest on?
No, because it's him. And, I love to pick at the Wahoos, but it's a special place, too. It just is. And he is one of the greatest of all time in that program. Not only did we want to have fun with him about the water thing, that's where this was spawned. Travis, awesome job getting to him. Travis jumped right on it as soon as
Good
Chris
job.
responded and got Chris on for us. And he's had a real busy week. He's been out in Wyoming and kayaking and who knows what. But I wanted his perspective, Wes, on NIL. And I'm so glad that we got it, because that's one of those guys who played at a university and was the face of the university. All right? And so he's one of those guys who could have benefited tremendously from it. And I felt like his perspective was so keen. He put it at $250,000. I think that's a low number, and Travis is for those of you
The
listening,
dude
he's
went-
putting his thumb up in the air too.
He went second overall in the draft. So think about
I know.
what.
Yeah. He had a lot of baked
I also
in
found
value.
it so interesting that
On
he
three
was
has
talking
like
about
a
his dad.
valuation for guys, NIL value, and what he mentioned about his dad. They factor in like legacies. So like LeBron's son has a higher floor
Arch Manning.
than other guys. Arch Manning. So that family legacy
know-
does matter. I don't know how exact a lot of that stuff is because it's still so new. But social media is certainly a part of it. Family legacy, and then what you do on the field. So, yeah, I have no doubt he could have been pushing 7 figures for sure.
And you know that some of those companies, right, are going to say, they're going to try to put together, it's like Dale Jr. owning his NASCAR team, right? Okay, we'll sponsor that team in the Xfinity Series, but we want Dale Jr. for so many appearances too. Tony Stewart's team in a Cup Series, sure, we would love to sponsor Chase Briscoe, but with Chase, we want Tony. And there's no question that guys like Chris, Travis said it right there, Arch Manning's insane value will be, hey, can we do deals with you and your uncles or your dad or whomever? And So I think that it's interesting the way he said it too. Like, when you are a superstar athlete or a superstar entertainer or a business person, and your father was wildly successful, like Howie Long, Chris's dad was, Hall of Famer, right? On Fox Sports' broadcast, phenomenal broadcaster, has been since I was a kid, basically. And certainly there's going to be those naysayers that go, oh, you're a silver spoon kid, you got it because. It's Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon now in NASCAR. Dale Jr. when he was in NASCAR, oh, daddy handed everything to him. That's bullshit. You might get an opportunity because of your dad, but you don't keep it because of your dad. You have to have the talent, the drive, the passion, the want to, the acumen in order to keep it.
The thing that I'm more interested in right now, maybe it's because it's more recent, how do players, former players, feel about this conference stuff? Because everything I see on social media is from the loudest people in the room, and they think that college football is going to be ruined. And I was encouraged to hear that Chris has faith in the sport like I do. I'm defending it until I can't, until it doesn't exist anymore. But we see these changes, and it doesn't mean the sport is ruined. It doesn't mean the sport's going to die. I still believe that college football has a lot to offer and brings people a lot of passion, regardless of where their teams shake out in this Power 2, Tier 1, Tier 2 deal.
McGee and I spent all day Saturday, our entire 3 hours. We spent interviewing Reese Davis, interviewing Heather Dinich, interviewing this person and that person. And everybody's still working through it because it is brand new, and it's so foreign right now that UCLA and USC are going to be in the Big Ten, and some other teams are too. Look, this was a power move by a couple of, like, Fox Sports had a hand in this, and the Big Ten and the universities, and it's not over, guys. It's not over. And like, we're going to spend so much time talking about this, not only on this platform, but on all of ESPN's platforms. I will, as we make our way through. Wes is going to be talking about it on Dogs HQ.
Yeah, I wrote about it already this week. Y'all check it out.
Yeah, constantly it's going to be discussed. All right, I got to hop. And the reason I got to hop is because we have about 2 minutes left before my internet dies. We get a 1-hour window on this internet, my friends. Thanks so much to Chris, man. Again, Travis, great job getting him. So grateful for our law enforcement officials all over the country, working hard to keep communities safe, and they're working hard now. They're working hard right now. Thank you to our first responders. It was so cool to be in the Ocean City Bike Parade on July 4th and following the big red fire truck throughout the city and watching the kids respond to that and how cool it is. They're all heroes. Same for the United States military. Thank you guys so much for your sacrifice and your service to our country. We are grateful for freedom every day. Thank you guys. And thank y'all for listening to the Marty Smith podcast here at Outsider. Subscribe, rate, review, follow, do jumping jacks, cartwheels, whatever you can do. You can go to our store right now. You can buy the hat I have on. This is the duck camo hat. Wes has on the what's that one called? It has a cool name, like
the authentic.
I forget what it's called.
Authentic goods.
Yeah, authentic products or something like that. Travis will figure it out. All right, we're out of time. Thank y'all. Have an amazing week. This is the Marty Smith podcast. Thank y'all for listening. See ya.